Anyways, Moni, who is next?
All right, up next we've got just going back to where I was, sorry. We've got one from Rocket Admin Dave. So for you Pokemon fans, you better watch out. Apparently Team Rocket's in our Discord now.
I don't know what any of that means, but okay.
He asks, did Deathwing's soul end up in the Shadowlands, or was it claimed by the Void?
Oh. Interesting.
I believe that all dragon souls are sent to the Emerald Dream, are they not?
Yeah, but we're gonna have to talk about that a little. But first of all, Go-Kart Mozart, thanks so much for the Prime sub. But that is 9 months part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you. Sounds good. No, I've never watched Pokemon. I know nothing about Pokemon. So yeah, I don't know jack shit about that. Whatever that is. Okay, so we have to talk about this. The origin lore for World of Warcraft suggests that all dragons go back to the Emerald Dream and they spend time at the World Tree in the Emerald Dream, recuperating and becoming the guardians of the Emerald Dream. That's supposed to be their natural cycle. Now we have learnt in Shadowlands that no, they kind of probably go to Ardenweald. But considering that there is a back door into the Shadowlands through Ardenweald in the Dream, this would suggest that Ardenweald and the Dream is either the same place or so closely connected that they may as well be the same place. So when you talk about the Emerald Dream and talking about Ardenweald, you're probably mostly talking about the same place. At least theoretically. Or functionally, rather. Now, in saying that, we also know that souls, through incredible amounts of power, can redirect the flow of souls. Or souls can be redirected, but it takes an incredible amount of power. The kind of power that Void Lords would probably have. No? They would be powerful enough to alter the direction of a soul. The question becomes, how attached are the Void Lords to a fallen servant of theirs? Towards the end, one almost gets this idea that the old gods had given up on Deathwing. They were no longer really caring about him. That would be my takeaway, at least. It feels like that is the case. But then again, it might be completely wrong. It might be that the old gods did claim him. Now, I don't think his soul, if anything, would go to the Void. If I'm correct about the Void, if a soul did go to the Void, it would be consumed in its entirety. Because if a soul is anima, and anima is energy, and it's literally almost unlimited energy, the Void consumes energy. So a soul couldn't exist. So that means that Deathwing would probably have gone to Ny'alotha. Ny'alotha seems to be a place on Azeroth. Very specifically, if you look at how quickly N'Zoth was able to establish portions of Ny'alotha on Azeroth, okay, it would appear as if Ny'alotha is at least a place either tied to Azeroth or attached to Azeroth or on Azeroth, maybe in a different dimension. And it is possible that Deathwing's soul is in there. But what does that Deathwing look like? If we go back to the puzzle box of Yogg-Saron, it speaks about only mad things walking in Ny'alotha. And that Ny'alotha is a place of terrible, unnumbered crimes. So again, we come back to would we ever want to meet that Deathwing? Considering he might be stone cold fucking nuts. And, who knows what the fuck's going to happen with that. Yeah?
He very well could be, when we saw him at the end of the Dragon Soul raid with all of the tentacles coming out of him and shit, that could be like his true corrupted form that his soul takes, and very well could be what we'd see if we traveled to Ny'alotha.
Yeah, like Looney said in chat as well, it could be that Deathwing had become so old god-esque. So he became so enthralled and drenched in old god magic and in void magic that he himself became an old god towards the end. Because at the end, you know, he was completely deformed and misformed and just wrecked. So there is a possibility of that being the case. There's no precedent for it, though. We don't know how old gods are created, but we're pretty sure it's not like that.
Yeah, the closest example we have is Gahoon.
Yeah. And Gahoon was almost definitely created as an experiment by the Titans. Deathwing would not be that. Now, again, all of this goes down to how much or what ultimately, because we know that if you become corrupted enough by the Void, you turn into one of their monstrosities. Like, they can actually turn you into a monster with enough corruption. So there is a chance that they could turn you into an old god with enough corruption. But then what happens to old gods when they die? Either their shards, their portions return to the Void? Or do they stay on Azeroth? Do they go into Ny'alotha? I have no idea. I generally don't. There is a third option that Blizzard could start to work out. Remember the place, it's in one of the books that we got from the Journal of the Keepers, the one where they lied to us. There's a place they speak about where all the heretics went. Now remember, the heretics are the servants of the old gods. And they explain how they can't get into the heretics area. They couldn't reach it. They sent multiple, shall we say... No, it's not muted. They sent multiple missions or groups out to try and reach the island, and every single time no one came back. So what if that island is in fact where the old gods originate from? What if that is where the font of their power is? What if Deathwing and Galakrond is on that island?
Like, is this an island on Azeroth?
According to them, because the boats seem to have left from the Dragon Isles and it went to somewhere. I can't remember what the name is of the place. A something. Mm-hmm. Alderson, or is that, it might be, no. What the fuck was it called again? But there's a place where the heretics live. And that's where they could never reach it. They could never fucking go there.
I mean, we have precedent for that.
Avaloran. Thank you. Avaloran. That's the one. Thank you. Yes, it's not Alderson, the viewer. It's Avaloran, the place. There we go. Yeah, and apparently they could never reach it. The heretics made that their home, and they would just defend it with everything in them. What precedents do we have for it?
Oh, I was saying that we do have a precedent for, like, Void-esque things attached to the Dragon Isles, because in Vanilla WoW, you know, they were going to do the Dragon Isles, and it had that Nautilus old god type entity that we see in Vashir.
Yeah.
That was highly tied to the Dragon Isles. So the reason I was saying that isn't too far of a stretch is that concept of Void on the Dragon Isles could have been built into this this new island that they have been journeying to.
It's also possible. I mean, the possibilities at this point are quite endless. Like, the directions that Blizzard could physically take with this expansion is endless. They could go anywhere. And that's what should excite all of us, especially those of us that love the lore. We should be very excited for what the story can ultimately become. because they're not tied down anymore. We're dealing with Tolgrim. Thanks so much for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They can go wherever they want now, because we're now in a world where the lore was sparse at best. You know, most of the lore we had of this era was very much just retellings of, you know, the ancient times, and not in as much detail as one would hope. So Blizzard could absolutely do just an unlimited amount of things. And I really hope that they will take advantage of that and do an unlimited amount of things.
Yeah, and I for one like that they are showing the bias of the Titans and how not everything they say is possibly true, or how most of it could even be just propaganda.
Yeah,